First of all, very good evening, everyone. I am Priyanka Bhargav. Super excited to be here in front of such a lovely audience. First, let me express my gratitude and thank you to all of you for making time for the fourth wave of Flipkart Connect and making time on this Thursday evening. Thank you so much. With that, we will kick off the panel discussion around a very, very important topic, which is something which cannot be measured, cannot be managed. So therefore, our panel will be around, or the discussion will be around, how do we really see the shifts in the emerging trends in the measurement. But before we kick off this panel discussion, I have something in mind for all of you. After hearing all of that energizing conversation and very, very exciting and big numbers, big bang numbers, hearing it from Sandeep, from Shyam, and some great innovations that we heard from AL, and considering that we are in Bombay, let me start in a very Bollywood style to check with this audience, and particularly considering that we are not doing it virtual, so we can definitely feel the vibe. So how's the Josh, guys? Okay, we'll do it once again. We'll try this once again. And the louder you are, the faster we can do this. How's the Josh, guys? Okay, great. I think dinner will get served soon. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, panelists. It's great to be amongst the great minds in the industry. Considering that the pandemic brought in a lot of new emerging trends, advertisers have been shifting their focus. They are becoming far more performance-oriented. And with commerce advertising becoming the buzzword, and that's where it is gaining ground, it is important to also understand that since the marketing dollars are shifting, what are the new attribution and marketing models that the advertisers are thinking in order to ensure and also evaluate and assess how effective marketing has been? So let me first start off with Tushar, with you. I will ask you the question which is primarily related to how you are seeing the trends in 2023 changing for evaluating and assessing marketing. And also, as we are moving towards performance, what are the pros and cons for the same?
Yeah, thanks. Check. Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks. You have been sort of lovely audience, I guess. And I would like to talk about two, three.
I'll just check, guys. Are you able to hear Tushar?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great. I would like to talk about maybe three things, and I'll keep it a bit brief here. I guess one of the change happening is basically the significant outcome focus. And in fact, this journey which is started beginning of this decade, and especially post-COVID, it accelerated, right? So I think the demand from marketing is more outcome, and there's two fundamental truths, basically. One, what it does to brand and what it does to business, right? What it does to business is basically more closer to performance marketing, while in terms of what it does to brand is more of a lead indicator. And much has been already spoken about brand market, power of a brand. In fact, interesting to hear the Pankaj, the VC panel, also spoke about the power of the brand, right? So it's in a way lead indicator which builds a value for brands. I think that's a number one area in terms of the entire outcome focus. I think second thing is this is becoming more of a decade of augmented marketer, so to say. So there's a huge amount of focus on a take and data and role it plays. Especially, and there is implication on in terms of measurement, right? So the entire shift is happening from a more of a sample data orientation to more and large data orientation. So, and one of the key trend I would like to talk about the first party data. Most of the key brands are building capability. In a way, they are refining their marketing stack to build those capability and understand consumer deeper. So that's broadly the second area, and that will have implication in terms of how you look at it. Third is in area of more of how entire content piece is changing, right? And there's a spectrum of thing, but one thing which is turning corner is a combination of influencer content and commerce coming together and how it is driving. So that's the area will have implication. Second is also in terms of the data-driven, the entire creative narrative. And there's a spectrum again there. So one end is the entire DCO kind of thing, which is more of a dynamic content optimization, going all the way up to bringing a very, very custom solutions. So I think those are the 3 points definitely I would like to highlight.
So great. I think those points are very useful because data is the new oil and content is the queen. Yeah, we are all women-oriented organization. So content is not the king, content is the queen. But with that, let me come to Pankaj. Pankaj, what do you think are the pros and cons of this kind of a change or the emerging trend which is emerging on the performance marketing?
So yeah, it's an interesting question. I think pro and cons for performance marketing, right? Yeah. So as we have seen after COVID, we have seen marketing dollars for every organization. So I represent LG Electronics here. So keeps on reducing. So sharp focus for all of us is to have a ROI-driven campaign. So but there are flip side also of doing only the performance marketing. First, let me speak about a bit on the pros or the benefits, what we see for the performance marketing. We all are in the digital space. So what we see for us, very important is whatever money we are spending, what benefit to the organization we are bringing. And maximum time, the CEO of the organization or the global team asks how much sales you will bring while you do any campaign. So for us, tracking any campaign, spending any dollar, it should be result into some conversion or some customer loyalty. But what happens that in a larger organization like LG Electronics, so digital is one part of the organization. We still have our 80% plus sales coming from the offline channels. So what we see that's not only the performance marketing, but all aspects of marketing plays a very critical role. So I'll give you one example. So in the peak of a summer, if a customer wants to buy an air conditioner, so when he will buy an air conditioner, he might have seen a logo of some brand somewhere, advertisement of some brand in the newspaper, TV, print, digital. So it's very difficult to actually understand that which marketing dollar has actually led to this purchase. But while we do performance marketing on social platforms or maybe the e-commerce platforms like Flipkart, it is very easy to track and it is very easy to know our ROI. And performance marketing is very, very personalized also. For example, I think session has become a little longer, so I'll quickly wrap up. So for example, it's very personalized also. For example, if my wife wants a gift from me, maybe for her anniversary, she will go on my laptop, on my Google, she will maybe type some gifts option. So maybe some marketers will keep on personalizing those options for me. So it's becoming very personalized. It is becoming very performance oriented. But the flip side, very quickly, I will say, the flip side of this is we cannot make a brand loyalty. Other aspect is the data protection is a one big issue, which performance marketing will bring because we have a very stringent digital acts coming up in India. GDRP and other compliance are a big concern for all of us. And from LG also, we are representing to the government with the new digital law, new digital compliance, which is coming up, how it should be fair for all the organization or the e-commerce platforms. But I should say, one cheer for all of you sitting here. I say to my team, last 10 years, I'm in digital space, and I'm in the professional journey close to 20 years. So when I was not into the digital space, so I was regarded in my organization as a general physician. कि ये जनरल फिजिशियन है, ये साइड में बैठा है, इससे बस क्रोसिन ले सकते हैं मैक्सिमम. बट वाइल आई केम इनटू द डिजिटल स्पेस, लोग मुझे हार्ट स्पेशलिस्ट मानने लग गए हैं और मेरी टीम को कि यार इसको बुला सकते हैं जब कहीं फंस गए हैं. सो अ बिग चीयर टू ऑल ऑफ यू एंड लेट्स कीप टॉकिंग एंड आई नो मोस्ट ऑफ यू एंड थैंक्स फ्लिपकार्ट टीम फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी ओवर हियर. Thank you very much.
Big cheers and 3 cheers to your team. But the key takeaway for me from that, Pankaj, is you did speak about loyalty, and which is extremely important, if I may say, a phenomenon which needs to start showing up in the online space as well. With that, let me come to Kavita. Hi, Kavita. Kavita, can you share your thoughts with us around how we can build brand, and can we really build brand along with performance? What are your views around that?
Thanks, Priyanka. First of all, I would really like to thank you and Sudarshan, I guess somewhere there, for having me here. And it's really a pleasure to, share stage with such amazing people around. And what a great turnout. Lovely audience out there. Thanks a lot for making out time. Being a market researcher, I will start with numbers. I know a lot of numbers already for the day, but just bear with me. So some stats from IQ. During pandemic, almost 50%, in India, have witnessed almost 51% growth in digital transactors, or if you want to call it e-com users. And in 2021 itself, we have surpassed US, right? And I did see that, in one of the presentation earlier as well, that by 2025, it's estimated to reach 500 million plus, right? So that's the reach we are talking about. And sheer reach itself is so tempting that why would one chase just performance, right? Why not, also think about transacting this into brand building or say the brand outcomes, right? If I have to really deep dive into distinguished segments that would drive this growth or fuel this growth, are really, urban hinterlands, rural India, lower affluent class, and Gen Z. Yeah, let's take an example of Gen Z. They are the ones who are least receptive to advertising. They are the ones who really need control. Very choosy about the content that they consume. They are the ones who install ad blockers in their mobile, or they are the ones who would really skip ads the most, right? Very interestingly, the recent media reaction report by Kantar suggests that e-com is the second best touch point when it comes to ad receptivity. Within online channels, of course, and the first being the influencer content. So you see, there's this huge opportunity around there. And we also see that, the focus is shifting. There is a shift in mindset. If I have to specifically talk about personal care or beauty segment, we see that advertisers are developing content, especially for e-com. We get brief when they want to test ad. They really want to, understand the brand impact in context to e-com specifically. So there is this opportunity. And I'm not really saying that short-term sales is not important. It is important. Performance is important, of course, because that's ultimately that, the organization is chasing, right? But building a short-term sales comparatively, I would say, is easier, maybe difficult to sustain, but it's easier to drive short-term growth or short-term sales, or even measure as compared to long-term brand building. And if one focuses on performance a lot, there is a risk that, you would continuously end up meeting your existing users. You're actually losing out on a huge opportunity where you can add new users, for the brand, and even for the category for that matter. So what's really important is really to strike the right balance between the two. I have some more time, I hope. Okay, cool. So, there's this much talked about Leigh-Bennett rule. I don't know if you know about it, which is 60-40 in the favor of brand building. I'm not saying it's a straight line. Of course, there will always be some difference for certain brands, certain categories. But I would say that one need to really, test and learn and see what really works for them. And there are measurement solutions available, like, certain market mix models. They do factor even the brand performance or long-term brand equity rather than just sales, right? So one can actually take directional inputs from there to optimize the media mix or the optimize, the budgets between the two. One of our internal analysis suggests that the campaigns that are really investing more than 60% on performance actually suffer not just impact on brand perception, but also we have seen decrease in sales lift for them. Yeah. And one single most predictor for marketing sales effect is actually branding. And this is consistent with the evidence on the most important part, which is, mental brand availability, right? So the campaigns really need to focus in boosting ease with which the consumer can actually recall brand when they're buying, or when they're actually making the decision, right? Being Kantar, we really emphasize on the importance of brand building. I'm sure some of you must have heard about Brandsy. Brandsy is, is the largest consumer brand equity database in the world that links the brand performance with the tangible financial returns, right? So from Brandsy, we know that if your, the brand is strong, it's most likely going to get you better returns for the stakeholders. These brands are more resilient when it comes to crisis, and these are the ones that will really recover quickly, right? So as you can say, a lot in favor of brand building, and I would like to conclude with, I think it's critical to have, in order to have a sustained growth, it's critical that the brand focuses a lot on brand building, and of course, keeping a right balance when it comes to performance. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Kavita. You touched upon a very, very important topic of brand building, because brand constitutes emotional connect and functional aspect. So while we all continue to build the functional connect with the brand, it's extremely important for all of us as advertisers, as brand marketeers, to continue to build the emotional connect, and therefore that, the noble war that we have between the short-term goals versus the long-term brand building. I think the jury is out. Kavita is very clearly well spoken that in the long term, it is the brand building which will eventually pay off in terms of bringing that stickiness to the platform. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think that's all the time that we have today. But Tushar, Pankaj, Kavita, any last concluding comments from your end?
Let me tell a small story, right? And this is a very famous Nike anecdote. So if you're getting ready for a run in a chilly winter morning, if somebody there to cheer you outside, go for it, and that's a Nike, right? If you're looking for that level of brand connect, then definitely it needs a different ball game. And of course, performance has role to play, but where your brand stand within that spectrum, you need to take a call and build your narrative.
No, absolutely, very well spoken. We are not in a sprint, we are in a marathon, and in order to be there, a couple of points that the panel has spoken here, which stay away and I take away from this discussion. We have spoken of content, we have spoken of loyalty. Obviously, we have spoken of how responsibly we should be doing this through the right data privacy rules. Kavita has well spoken about the importance of brand building. Obviously, because we know this, that the next 200 million customers is very, very different from the first 200 million customers. They are far more rural, far more Bharat, more women, more Gen Z, more vernacular, and the list is long. And in order to be able to gauge their attention in a very, very meaningful way, I think these were insights which were very, very useful. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you.